Hey folks, and welcome to a new series I'm calling 100 Days in Thailand. You see, after 7 incredible years of living here, I'm excited to finally present a series that captures the essence of my travels through this vibrant country, from special events to local traditions and all the incredible people I've met along the way. This fast-moving series will showcase different aspects of life in Thailand that most visitors never get to see. Whether you're planning a trip or simply curious about Thai culture, this series promises to offer valuable insights and inspiration. So let's embark on this epic adventure together. 100 Days in Thailand starts now. Wasn't long ago, just several decades, but rice used to be the #1 export here in Thailand. It's given way to the petrochemical industry. Now refined petroleum products are the #1 export. But I thought we'd spend the first couple of days talking about rice. There's probably a million stories of the rice fields, and I guarantee you this, it's not what you're thinking. There's enough going on here in these rice fields to fill a book, and some of it actually has nothing to do with rice. But I happened across these guys. This is a plot or a rice paddy that's just being prepared for planting. So they'll probably actually plant this tomorrow morning. It's in the evening right now, and they're churning this up with what's called a mud tractor. They have a very unique way of doing things here, something that's totally Thai. And this would be maybe one of them, although there may be other places in the world that use something like a mud tractor. It's a fairly Thai way of doing things, and that's what I really appreciate about living here. It's discovering all these things. I actually had to take a little ride on this just to see what made it tick, and of course there's a lot more to it than you think. But this guy helped me out. It was very nice. But they'll get this all smoothed out, all churned up, and then they'll be ready to plant probably first thing in the morning. But they've got a lot more paddies to do this evening.
Those guys don't look this dirty. I just made one little lap and I'm filthy. What a ride. I just left it in low gear. They got different gears. They got a throttle. The thing's really hard to steer. It's very heavy. The steering's very heavy.
Probably something you could get the hang of in little time, but out here in rice country, teamwork makes the dream work. You'll see these things are not the best at going between rice paddies. You just got this thin little strip of land, so they really need some encouragement to do that. But we'll get this all churned up, and in the morning, they'll do the planting. So once the rice is planted, then that can be done by machine or by hand, but you get a little reprieve. It takes a little while to start growing, although it will start growing pretty quick. And there's other things to be done. There's always things to be done around the rice farm, maybe attending to a vegetable garden. You need veggies in addition to the rice. But before you know it, that rice will sprout, and then certain opportunities and or problems start rearing their head. We'll start here. This is more of an opportunity than a problem. One thing that's always got to be done is the rice paddies have to be kept full of water, at least while the rice is young. The rain usually, Mother Nature with rain usually takes care of that. If not, they're manually flooded from little reservoirs, drainage ditches, lakes, ponds, whatever. But there's water in there, suffice it to say, maybe anything from a couple inches to a half a foot. And believe it or not, in that little bit of water right there, that's where the locals can get some protein in the form of fish. They're fishing right here. So what'll happen, they've gone around and put like a bamboo stick in the ground, about a 2-foot stick with about 18 inches, 2 feet of a string tied to it, and a hook, of course. And they're going around after dark and baiting it. This is best done after dark. Some of these fish are more nocturnal. And I'll show you the prize catch. But they're using worms, much like you would use fishing. But the fishing rod is just this stick. It's kind of stuck into the muck, and it'll be unattended. They're just hoping that the fish will hook itself, and they'll be able to walk around and make rounds and check these lines, these fish traps, whatever you want to call them, and end up with some protein. So we'll see. They've got a bag there to catch. It's okay to take a little beverage along with you and enjoy this. This is after hours. This is kind of extra, but this is one way that some of these rice villages will get protein. You'll see the rice here. This rice is probably only a couple weeks away from picking. In 2 or 3 weeks. It hasn't turned golden yet, but it's not going to get much taller than that. You can actually see the grains already forming. But I don't know how many of these traps. It's just as many as they can do, but the more the better, because as you'll see, a lot of times this is hard business. So it's a numbers game. The more traps, the more lines you put in, the more fish you'll catch. So we'll see if they have any luck here tonight. But any given night, you could get anywhere from 1-2 fish to a whole sack full, maybe several kilos of fish. It will just depend. There's another bounty that comes out of here as well, in the same vein of seafood. We'll look at that in a minute. But this is one way that you get protein, there you go, right out of the rice field. Caught that fish. Now that's what they call plachon, or you may call that a snakehead. Indigenous to here, these are invasive species a lot of the world. I believe down in Florida in the U.S. they've gotten in the canals. But this is a very hardy fish. They call it like a snakehead because the head looks a little bit like a snake, I guess, but these fish can live out of water for prolonged periods of time, and the rice paddies are perfect for them. They can actually get up on the land and using their fins almost to walk over into the next paddy or to the next drainage ditch. There's another one, although that one got away. You'll see it's it's tricky business, this. So I guess the fish wasn't totally hooked. A lot of times they get caught up into the rice, but back home, back in the village, you'll see the catch du jour there. One has already flipped himself out of that pot in an attempt to escape. Like I said, they're very apt to, not very, but they can somewhat travel on the land. They can traverse land. They will try to escape that pot and traverse the land to the next rice paddy. But they put all the catch in there. They'll try to put some water in. They'll just eat for tonight, take out what they're going to eat for tonight, and they'll keep the rest alive with a little bit of water. They don't need much water. They're used to shallow water and drainage ditches. You can catch these just in a couple inches of water. They'll be lurking down in the mud. They'll eat frogs and, of course, worms and other fish, whatever basically they can get their jaws around. But here is the other bounty of seafood in the form of snails. So while one group was going around checking the fishing line, there was another group going out and collecting these snails. That's quite a handful of snails. So the following morning, after a cup of joe, those snails will be processed. That's better done in the daylight. It's a little bit dark at night to be processing the snails. Those sugar apples right there that were just picked, that'll make a nice snack also after the morning coffee. But in terms of the snail preparation, that's something you gotta once you do them, you gotta either eat them or have a place to refrigerate them. Of course, they will go bad very quick. Some of them might have already gone bad. You have to check them while you're cleaning them there, but they'll get enough protein out of that for another day. And regardless how much protein they get, regardless how many fish they caught or snails, vegetables in the garden, there's always enough for the morning monks. So the food is generally shared with the community monks there. They'll come around in the morning with their bindabat bowls. They'll collect some food, and in return for the food, they will render up a prayer and a blessing. This old lady right here is getting her morning blessing while she pours a cup of water. That water then becomes almost tantamount to holy water, and then generally that's poured on a tree or a bush or a flower or something to help it grow. So if the fish and the snails are an opportunity maybe for some protein, I guess this next one would also involve protein but be more of a problem. Ducks get their breakfast in some freshly harvested rice paddies before they plant the next crop. Of course, it's good eating for the ducks. But that's not why we're here. This place has a different problem, something all its own. It's not that. That is actually a crab. There's also crabs. Maybe that's a story for another day. But this rice is very nearing harvest. You can see it's starting to turn gold. And the gentleman here is going to show me some of the dilemma. In fact, there's already grains, plenty of grains on the stalks. Some of the grains have started to fall off. There's evidence here of rats eating them, attacking the stems, the stalks, the grain. So they'll mark little flags here. They will set traps and catch these rats. They'll try to catch these rats. If not, the rats will eat them out of house and home. The rats will eat the rice before they can harvest it. Even though the rice isn't quite ready for harvest for human consumption now, it's far enough along to make a hearty meal for the rats. So that's what these guys do. That is their entire lot in life. They're rat catchers. They'll use dried corn, some dried corn for bait in the rat trap. The rat trap's almost tantamount to a miniature bear trap there. Or they'll use another one called tree sap. They just get some kind of special tree sap. All of the baits are sprayed with their very own attractant that they make. They actually manufacture and sell that. They take great pride in their attractant. For some reason, they heat the tree sap up. That one's tree sap right there. These traps are not the easiest thing to set either, but they heat the sap up. Once they heat the sap up, it absorbs the attractant much better. And the attractant is what the rats smell. The rats go after that. That's what they want. They think they're getting a meal, but they're really getting tricked into a trap. So there you go. But the traps, you can see this guy's a professional, and this one still almost gets his hand. So leave that to them. I won't be setting any of the traps. But you can see there's different varieties of patties. There's some that have been planted, like this bright green one here. Rats aren't too much of a problem there. The grains haven't manifested themselves yet. There's other patties that have been freshly harvested that the birds are having a feast in. And then there's the golden ones that the rats are really attracted to. So with a bunch of traps laid during the daytime hours, we'll put the ducks up for the night as the sun sets here. They'll go back to a barn, and once the sun's down, we'll make an effort. We'll go around and we will check these traps and see if there's any critters in them. We'll see if we can catch some rodents, and I'll show you what they do with them after we catch them. There you go. The rat men, as I call them, have made their first sweep of the night, and there were plenty of rats to hoist in. Now the preparation begins. They basically burn off the fur, the hair. That's where all the dirtiness is, the bacteria. Who knows what's on them? It could be ticks, could be fleas, anything, just like any wild animal. And then there's a variety of ways they cook them. First of all, they grill them. And it's kind of a rite of passage for me. I'm the first. This is my first rat trap. I've got to go ahead and taste it. So there you go, freshly cooked rat. We'll see what it tastes like.
I'd be lying if I said it didn't taste like chicken, but it's got a gamey flavor to it. You can tell it's a wild, even though it's grain fed because they're living in the rice. It's got a kind of a gamey flavor, like you get with wild game, and that's what it is. But other than that, the texture and the initial flavor that goes in your mouth like chicken.
So believe it or not, they're not catching these all for them to eat. They're catching these to sell for other people to eat. Most of these rats, although they made a little smorgasbord rat buffet out here this evening in the field, in my honor, basically, most of these rats will be taken the next day to the market. They're sold right alongside other proteins like chicken, pork, shrimp, fish, whatever. In fact, rat per kilo is more than any of the ones I just mentioned, about maybe the same as shrimp. A good shrimp. It would be medium, large. Large shrimp would cost about the same as rat. So there you go. It's can be quite lucrative for them. So once you've saved the rice from the rats, of course, it's got to be harvested. There's a couple ways to do that: by hand or by machine. By hand, these were all picked by hand. They were tied up into bundles. This is actually what would be known locally as sweet rice or sticky rice. But either way, it's a form of rice grown here, and you'll see each kernel is wrapped up in a husk. Now, I was told it's a little bit hot right now in the middle of the day to finish processing this, so we'll come back in the evening. But in short, there you go. Those little grains of rice, that's what they're after.
จะทำให้ดู
ทำแบบนี้เหรอ
ใช่
That's how you do it for real. You got two sticks, you lock them together, and you start whacking. It's like swinging a sledgehammer, I guess. And you got a lot of hits just for one bunch. I don't know, maybe 20 hits or so for one bunch, and you get all the grains. And then you only got, like, I don't know, a couple hundred more bunches to do. It's a lot of work.
So one of the more popular ways to harvest the rice is by machine. And there you go. This is what I'm talking about. Some things that are just unique to Thailand. This machine is manufactured here. It's sold here. It's used here, of course. That's about a 2.5 million baht machine. Oh, somewhere right around 90,000 US dollars, something like that. But it sure, I tell you what, it sure does the work. In this day, this machine harvested about, I don't know, probably 20 acres of rice, maybe 15 acres of rice in about 3 hours. They can do, they're said, up to 100 rai per day of rice. So they are a great investment. If you own a machine, a lot of times the rice farmers won't own the machine. They'll contract out to whoever owns the machine. And that's what they do. That's their part in this. They just bring the machine on a truck. It's a track type machine, so it won't get stuck in the rice paddy mud. And it kind of lobs off the top of the rice stalk, beats the rice with the beaters there, and it ends up in a hopper, being spit out the tube and in a hopper up there at the top. And then from there, it'll be loaded onto trucks, and they'll just load that up until the truck's full. They probably will get out of just this little area today, I don't know, I think several thousand kilograms of rice. So many metric tons, and it'll all go into a truck and be hauled away. Now, this specific rice here is what's known as hard rice, or what we would probably call feed rice. Just like you have feed corn, not all corn is grown for human consumption. A lot of it's fed to livestock, animal grain, that kind of thing. Same with rice. So this is that type. It's not going to be for human consumption, although there are many different types of rice grown here for human consumption. This specific one in this paddy is not. This is going to be a feed rice, but still brings a fair price in market. That'll all have to still be processed, and I don't know, the husk, and all of that's a whole separate process. This will be taken by the trucks to be processed and then put in the sacks, bags, probably 50 kilogram bags, and sold. So there you go. What a ripper, this little rice tractor here, and it fills up quick. If anything was wrong with it, I would say they need a bigger hopper, because that hopper, about every 15 minutes, they've got to empty that hopper up there into the truck. And also, there's no cab for the guy sitting there. Well, there is. It's just shaded, though. It's not a fancy cab like you'd see on a Kubota tractor or anything like that. One thing I'll tell you is, after the harvest, it's the dinner bell is rung for birds. The birds just have a feast after this, just much like we saw the ducks that were brought into a freshly harvested field. There's a lot of grains that escape the harvester and that end up on the ground, and pieces of the stalk, etc. And they'll eat all that up and sop it up with a biscuit. So the birds will feast after this. There's still lots more to be harvested here, and this little land right here next to my house was just harvested. Probably, I don't know, less than an hour, all that was put into the truck. Amazing. So sure beats the hand picking, which would take, countless people, probably a day, an entire day, to do one patty that size. This rice is going to be harvested in about 2 or 3 months from now. So it's still got a long way to grow, and we've got fish to catch and rats to catch in the meantime. So we've only just skimmed the surface. Still many more days to go in our 100 Days in Thailand series here. I think next time we'll talk about another product that the Thais are somewhat, at least quite famous for, and that would be seafood, all the various types of seafood, how it's caught and what it is. Some of that also may surprise you. There's a million stories, many of which are untold. Anyway, hope you'll tune in next time as the 100 Days in Thailand series continues. This series will be played side-by-side regular episodes, so it won't be back-to-back episodes, but they'll be coming. And then once they're done, there will be a supercut, a full-length feature of all of the episodes for the 100 Days in Thailand put together, packaged up in just 1 or 2 episodes, but they will be very long. At any rate, hope you enjoyed the episode. Something else next time, but for this one, I got to go ahead and leave it off right here. And as usual, I'll thank you for watching. And until next time, bye for now.